Hey everybody, welcome to another Tanks replay, this one in the IS-7, tuned up with TA and Viet Campo still, and we've got a pretty solid platoon structure here. We've got the mobile, heavily armoured IS-7, the slightly less mobile, but still heavily armoured IS-4, and of course the T-57, which is relatively sprightly, and has an auto-loading gun. So between us, we've got two very well-armoured heavy tanks, and an autoloader with decent mobility. This should work out pretty well in our favour, particularly since the enemy team don't have a whole lot in the way of heavy armour. Straight away we decide to head down the west side of the map. I get lit as I cross, but the enemy don't have time to get a shot at me. So far we still have a T-54 and a T-57 sitting in cap. So our team hasn't really pushed out very strongly yet, other than the 1390, and there should never be a light tank on this path, by the way. It's only my own platoon and the IS-8 here. The reason there shouldn't be a light tank here is because he's just wasting his tank. He's only spotted the 4202 a few seconds before we would have seen it, and he can't really do anything from this position. There are much better places for a light tank on this map. Viet gets the first shot in, and then the second. And although it's a bit risky, I roll around the corner to get a third into the 4202. Now, the enemy only have a single tank destroyer, and it's a Waffenträger Panzer IV, so I'm not too worried, especially since we haven't seen him yet. If they had some more heavy guns on their team, I might not have been so keen to push around this corner, but as it was, with the support I had, it was definitely time to push. So while I'm repairing my track, TA goes out for a shot. The T-54 is now behind a mountain where he can't hit us, and the E5 is trying not to get shot, so we can definitely push on these mediums. The position that these two guys are in can give you some good shots at the enemy tanks as they round the corner that we just came out of, but you're going to die. Unless you have good support from where the E5 is and from where the T-54 is, that position is suicide, and it's really not worth pushing into. It's why I much prefer the position down at K4, near where the T-54 and the enemy team and our other T-57 are working. It gives you a much better chance of getting away if the enemy do push hard around that corner. If you go up to the north position in H3, you're basically just writing yourself off. Down goes the E5. And the enemy Waffenträger and T-57 in the middle are busy fighting the 704, so we managed to catch them unawares. Now the T-57 quickly switches his focus our way, as does the Waffenträger. But they're not going to last long, and do on two sides. Sure enough, down goes the Waffenträger, and the T-57 will follow him shortly. Now at this point, I look at the minimap and notice that the enemy 4502 and E75 are both pushing into our base through the ice road. We do have an ST1 there, as well as a T-54, but the ST1 is absolutely horrifically bad, and the T-54 is not going to have much fun against those two heavies pushing on him. So I decide to head up and help, and as you can see, the enemy AMX just got in behind the ST1, and down he goes. Viet also comes back with me, while TA pushes on to clear out the enemy cap. There's not much left there, just the Wheezy 120 and the artillery. Our 704 runs up behind the 4502 to flush the two heavies towards our cap and into myself and the T-54. There's nothing they can do now, they're boxed in. All they can hope to do is maybe kill one of us before they get killed themselves. I roll up in front of the T-54 to act as ablative armor for him. There's no reason to let a teammate die if you don't need to. Down goes the E-75, tracked on a spot where he couldn't get his gun to depress, and the 4502 goes down to a shot to the side of the turret. Now, while the 4502 has ridiculously strong front armor, I would argue too strong, it does have rather weak turret sides. And so even if you're not close enough to pen the cupola on it reliably, the moment that 4502 swings its turret to the side, you're going to get a free shot in there. And so you've got to be really careful when you're driving a 4502B, where you're pointing that turret. Sorry about that, still a bit sick. Anyway, thanks for watching the video, hope you enjoyed it. As ever, I wish you the best of luck in the field, and I'll see you in the next one.